The most intense, thrilling, electrifying sport on the planet. Mixed martial arts. You've been looking for the definitive podcast to call your new home to hear everything about it. The search is over. This is the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. Bringing you the hottest MMA breakdowns straight from the heart of the octagon. This show is all about MMA breakdowns. For fans, by fans. We're talking UFC, MMA, and the occasional big boxing match. We'll bring our unique take on how these fights are going to play out and who we think are the best bets. Welcome to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. And now your hosts, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and Emiliano, a.k.a. Jive Turkey Nano.
Well, that was a little bit of an error message there because as you can see, folks, we have a special co-host today. We've got Mad Max Meridian with us because Nano is out of the country, folks. He fled the country. He's on the run. No, just kidding. He's doing wedding stuff out in Mako. And I couldn't be happier to have Mad Max Meridian here with us. How we doing, brother?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Appreciate you letting me drop in and hang out with you. Take a look at this first pay-per-view of the year. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely, man. So am I. UFC 297 was definitely one for the books. We're basically going to go ahead and run through most of the card, if not the entire card here. Starting at the very bottom, we are not going to give who we think should be next for each and every one of these fights, but we definitely will for at least the top few. So without further ado, folks, we are going to go ahead and jump into the opening early prelim of the fight, or of the night, which was Malcolm X Gordon coming in against Jimmy the Brick Flick. Folks, this fight was definitely an interesting one. You know what, Mad Max? I think I'm going to let you take the lead on this one.
Oh, man.
What were your thoughts on this fight?
You already know, man. I was losing my shit during this fight. I don't know. There was several moments of this fight that were exciting. Obviously, the opening exchanges, Jimmy was he was getting pieced up a little bit. Malcolm was landing some shots on him, and old Jimmy Flick, it wasn't like he was implementing the smartest defense. He was kind of just doing this and like walking backwards, just getting punched. But did some slick shit on the ground. Got a couple sweeps, couple reversals. He had a triangle set up. I think it was towards the end of the first round there. That Dom Cruz was he kind of like said he was safe, and then he backpedaled on it, and he was like, well, he's not really safe. You know, it's about as safe as you can be during a triangle. And with somebody like Jimmy Flick, there is no you're safe in a triangle. Like, if he's got his legs up there around your shoulders, like, your shit's probably about to get choked. But obviously, I was super pumped about that. I was getting pretty jazzed up with the grappling exchanges, and then he got a Von Flue choke set up at one point in time, which you see people like OSP used to hit that all the time. For a minute there, they were calling it the OSP choke, which obviously first came the Von Flue choke, but then he was hitting it like back to back to back, and I don't know, I kind of enjoyed them throwing that around. But either way, I'm getting sidetracked. Jimmy Flick threw his neck in there. Old Malcolm Gordon jumped the guillotine. You throw the opposing arm up over the shoulder and kind of like TP up into him to get some pressure going. And it seemed like the commentary team was not reacting very much to it, or at least they like acknowledged it a little bit. They're like, oh yeah, you know, they kind of call it the Flick choke. And then they all just kind of sat there, but they were going shithouse about the triangle that wasn't nearly as close. But you could see Malcolm Gordon started reacting. He hipped up. He was pushing with his feet to try and create some kind of distance there. Like, he was clearly reacting to the choke. All signs that this shit was like dangerous. And then for, Jimmy Flick to go on in the second round and then finish the fight with a head and arm triangle. Oh, I just yanked the mic. Can you hear me still? Okay, cool. But either way, to finish it with a head and arm triangle, which is essentially the same type of squeeze, just with like slightly different head positioning and arm positioning, but you're still in like the same area. It's still a lot of your shoulder, a lot of your neck, like head pressure in there. it's not surprising. He's clearly got that whole pattern down. He's got that choke sequence down. Yeah, I was losing my shit, man. Sorry to ramble about that one, but I was pretty pumped about it.
Yeah, do not be afraid to ramble, especially if it's something you're excited about, man. And that was definitely an exciting one. I mean, just kind of sprinkling a little bit extra on top of that. Just looking at the numbers specifically, it was 74-7 on strikes landed. Bad visual numbers wise, right? If you didn't watch the fight, you would think it was about as one-sided gets. Well, at least until we get into the next fight. Jesus Christ. But I mean, again, the numbers tell a very different story, right? 74-7. Again, even on significant strikes, 37-3. And takedowns. They landed the same number of takedowns, but as you said, Jimmy Flick, man, he was constantly putting up submission threats any which way he could. The triangle, the Von Flue, aka the St. Preux choke, and then finally just getting it done. But man, what a fight what a fun fight for as long as it lasted. The fight didn't even last 7 minutes. I did have the under on that, so that hit. You love to see it. And looks like flyweight unders might be back.
Mayhaps. Yeah, Jimmy Flick inside the distance was plus 275. We took a half a unit on that one. I forgot we obviously bets on him as well, but yeah, that was pretty nice. I wonder what the sub would have been. That probably had to be like 300-400. I would think.
I mean, I would assume at least like 300.
That would have been nice.
Oh yeah, that would have been a solid one to hit. Speaking of a solid one to hit. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, did he end up retiring or no? He was like...
He took his gloves off at the end, so it looked like he was retiring, but I don't know. I didn't see anything that he posted about it.
Okay.
And he didn't really get a post-fight interview because of the time limit.
Yeah, they brushed right past it. I never heard resolution one way or the other.
No, same. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up as you're doing the next breakdown here. But moving into the next fight, man, Jasmine. My goodness, Jasmine. This girl is she's something special, man. And she was. I literally said this in last week's episode before the fights. Whenever we were breaking them down with Nano, Jasmine was easily my most confident pick of the night. I had a feeling she was going to come out there and get it done over zombie girl Priscilla Cachoeira. And boy, did she. Man, she went out there and she just put the hurting on her. She got 1 knockdown. She got 2 takedowns. Oh, and she also got 300 more strikes than her opponent. Literally in a fight that didn't even go the full 15. She got more than 300 strikes. And literally 300 more than her opponent. So 326-26 in terms of total strikes landed, 93 of them significant from good old Jasmine. And man, oh man, she was getting it done, folks. My favorite part was literally in our Instagram group chat, we had our guy Matt saying that there's just something he doesn't like about Priscilla Cachoeira. He just can't place it. And I literally said, I was like, well, from what I've seen, she's a pretty dirty fighter. A lot of fence grabs, handful of weight misses, laundry list of reasons to not be a huge fan of hers. Does make herself pretty hard to like and root for. And then, what does our girl Jasmine say in the post-fight speech? But to literally throw her opponent under the bus and say, I wanted to punish her. I wanted to make sure that she hurt. The night before, her management communicated to Jasmine management team that they weren't going to be able to make the weight. And so they renegotiated that the fight be at 135, which honestly, if I'm Jasmine, I'm not doing that. I'm making her take that 20% pay cut. Okay. But good on good old Jasmine. Because she made it worth her while, and she put the hurting on Priscilla Cachoeira. There was a reason that Jasmine was my most confident pick of the night, and she definitely got it done. Curious to hear what you thought, because I know that I'm definitely more of the striking heavy guy, which is funny because I'm wearing the Islam shirt. He did get the head kick knockout though, folks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So That being said, you are the grappler of the group here, Mad Max Meridian. So I'm very curious to hear what you thought of Jasmine's performance.
What is that fucking sound bit from? I've never heard that before, but it's hilarious.
It's her saying her name the correct way.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, you covered just about everything. As far as the grappling side goes, it was like a pretty clear display of like what good wrestling is going to get you, which is like positional dominance. She obviously towards the end, she was threatening the which they've got her listed as an anaconda choke on Sherdog. I don't want to like nitpick. That was a Darce choke. Dom Cruz called it as a Darce. So it's a subtle difference. You still got it's like almost like a head and arm. Or
one of the few things Dom got right on Saturday.
Yeah, I know. I love Dom, but sometimes he gets a little squirrely. Sometimes he gets a little squirrely. But either way, probably the most impressive to me was there was like a pretty clear size discrepancy as well. Jasmine was giving up a lot of size in this fight, not just in weight, from the weight miss alone. Like Priscilla is big as shit. It showed in there, and Jasmine was like, "Hey, cool story. Like, I'm gonna wrestle this chick to pieces." And just, yeah, the knockdown surprised the shit out of me too. Like, a lot of pop on that. She sat down on it pretty good, yeah, and stung her. Yeah, I mean, all of it was pretty good. She was threatening that same choke over and over too. Like, clearly she's hitting this at the gym. It's clearly something she's good at. We're probably going to see her hit that exact same choke in several fights going forward. I'll be looking to play the submission on her from here on out, either inside the distance or submission on her, because that was pretty impressive. I actually thought too she ate a couple shots and displayed like a pretty decent chin. She got popped right there at the beginning a couple times and just was like, "Hey, cool story. Keep it going." So, impressive performance.
Absolutely impressive performance. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, I mean, I thought she, like you said, she took him on the chin. Like, she ate 24 significant strikes, and her opponent only landed 26. So she was throwing with killer intentions, right? There were venom on those shots, and Jasmine literally just ate them like they were nothing. So I truly think that, you know, if Jasmine wanted to fight at bantamweight, she really could. But I really can't wait to see her get back to her weight class. And I really think that Jasmine might very well become a household name of the future, folks. So moving into the next fight, we had Johan Lainez coming in against Sam Patterson. Folks, this was a quick one. This was one of those that lasted about as long as, you know, your first time. It was about 2 minutes and 3 seconds long, which, you know, all jokes aside, is probably about 2 minutes longer than your first time. Am I right? No? Nobody? So Sam Patterson went out there and just honestly put it on his opponent. What else is there to say? There were only 6 strikes landed across the entirety of this 2-minute fight. But again, I digress. This ended up being a submission win for Sam Patterson. Got it done. Made it look pretty damn slick. I am going to actually toss the baton over to Mad Max Meridian here because, again, he's the residential grappler of the group, and I think he'll probably give a little bit more elaborate breakdown than this caveman.
This one was, it was honestly like pretty straightforward. This was also a matchup that like you're used to seeing Johan have a size advantage on people. Like, he's a pretty big dude, and Sam's fucking massive, like very big, clearly very strong, but he was using, like, it was pretty fundamental jiu-jitsu. He wasn't doing fancy shit out there. He was just putting it together very smooth. Like, he had like a clear understanding of where it was that he was going to have either a positional advantage or he's just comfortable from that position generally. Again, working it in the gym, spending a lot of time there. Pretty like flawless performance. It was 2 minutes, so you can't like, I don't know, you don't want to base a ton off of it. You can't be like, oh, this guy's the next big thing off of 2 minutes of performance. But if he puts together a couple like that, you're like, oh, shit, this dude might be a problem.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Sam Patterson, I mean, I think you said it best when you said he is massive, right? Like, he's a fucking big dude. He's extremely large, folks. Again, I thought Johan was big going into this, and Sam looked just imposing against him. So again, just like you said, I hate to echo pretty much everything that you said, but it's really hard to say like, oh man, this guy's got a real future in the UFC. We only got 2 minutes of footage from him. Like even for his future opponents, this isn't really even something you could watch. I mean, like it was a really, I don't want to say rudimentary, but like textbook entry, and the submission, like the setup, everything seemed textbook. It seemed like almost like deja vu. Like we've seen this before hundreds of times. Just different bodies, different fighters, different weight classes. So he didn't really face any issues or any venom coming in, so to speak. So it's hard to say whether or not we learned a lot from him, but it was still a very fun fight and great showing for him. Hope he got a little extra money other than just getting, 2 times probably what was like $8K to show, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. Hopefully he got some kind of backstage paycheck or something, but
Dana's usually pretty solid about those.
Yeah, you hear a lot of stories about that, especially if they're putting on flashy performances, and with the way the upper card was going, yeah, he probably got a little something. He's somebody to keep an eye on. He looked fast too, like looked pretty quick. So
fast for his size.
Yeah,
yeah. He's a big guy for the weight class, and he looked like he moved very, very fast. This next one was pretty upsetting for me. Just gonna call a spade here, folks. I'm a big Polyana Viana fan, so I'm gonna go ahead and change the music here. Polyana Viana, man. It was tough. It was tough. She went out there against Jillian Robertson. Jillian Robertson, 2 for 2 on takedowns, 100%. For those of you that are bad at math, she looked real good out there. I feel like Ricky Bobby car handled real well. Jillian Robertson, she looked real good out there. Takedowns were there. Significant strikes on top. Control. It was a great fight for Jillian Robertson. It was tough. It was tough to watch as a Polyana Viana fan. She just, it felt very, very much like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like classic gi Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu versus MMA grappling. And it seemed like Polyana didn't really have much of an answer for her. She was admitting position too much, letting Jillian lead the dance and dictate the pace of the dance from start to finish. When it was standing on the feet, I digress. Girl Polyana was putting it on her, man. She looked pretty nice. Them body kicks. That music was too sad. We got to get back into the groove here. The body kicks, man, they were beautiful coming from Polyana Viana. I would have liked to see a little bit more takedown defense, but again, she's somebody that is not afraid of getting taken down. She likes to fight out of the guard, and it showed. I think again that she maybe gave up position and admitted position a little bit too much, but curious to hear your thoughts. And as someone that is more privy to the grappling, what would you have liked to see her do more from the bottom or in general?
Well, I first feel like I gotta take note here and mention that me and my grappling coach are huge fans of Jillian Robertson. So I actually, that was my main pick of the night was Jillian. I took her by sub. Should have went with inside the distance, unfortunately, but she got the KO. Was threatening the sub multiple times. As far as from Polyana's perspective, there was a couple moments where it was like her scramble game doesn't seem to be there at all. She's losing any kind of scramble that's going on. First off, also, let's back up. Jillian, the first knee pick that she hit, the first takedown was just, whoo. It was sweet. But going back to Polyana, she has like almost no scramble game. And then like one of the big things is you cannot either let your back get flat or accept position. And she kind of was doing a little bit of both. She was letting herself get flattened out. And even in the moments when she was like scrambling, it's like she just didn't have either the higher gear. I don't know what her like strength and conditioning looks like. I know a lot of people say that Jillian also is quite the athlete. She trains out of St. Louis a little bit here and there, so I've heard quite a bit of stories. One being from Dean Thomas, who trains with Tyron Woodley, so being with St. Louis like you just hear stories in those circles, and everybody says like she's like quite the athlete. So I don't know if it's one of those things where she just kind of got surprised by the strength of Jillian once she got a hold of her and actually like got her down on the ground. But yeah, she was accepting the position. She was getting flattened out on her back. You would like to have seen her maybe getting on the side. Now, sport jiu-jitsu, again, is a little bit different than MMA jiu-jitsu, but you usually want to try and keep like the elbows in. You don't want to be, flailing them out. You're opening yourself to armbar and stuff, but you gotta pick one side and go like hell towards it. You can't sit there and get flattened out and just shell up and let somebody rain blows on you. You're just gonna sit there and let that keep happening. You gotta go for it. You gotta pick a side and go for it. You can't just sit there. And it's like once it started raining, she was sitting there with no umbrella, if you know what I mean. It wasn't great.
Yeah, I completely agree. Love that you hit. I feel like a lot of people on their parlays definitely didn't go well. And a lot of people straight bets actually didn't go well, especially if you were betting a lot of heavy favorites on this card. And we'll get into that very, very soon, folks, because, man, there were definitely some folks that, from Canada just didn't really hold it down for the hometown. So moving into the next fight, unless you have a name on the tip of your tongue for Miss Robertson.
Oof, man.
Is there somebody you'd like to see her fight next?
I love that they're throwing her like, I don't want to say they're throwing her favorable matchups, but it seems like they've acknowledged the fact that her striking just ain't great. So you're either going to watch her get pieced up by somebody with some takedown defense, or you're going to throw her a grappler and let it be exciting. Sure. Has she fought somebody like Carolina or I'm trying to remember those matchups. I'd have to go through her Sherdog and see.
Kovalkiewicz?
Yeah, somebody like that.
Oh, fuck. Don't do that.
I'd be all right with it.
I would.
Man, yeah, they've not
I feel like that's a good match, man.
You don't want to like jump too deep into the division. She's right there on the cusp, like 14. You've got Michelle Watterson. I can't remember if she retired or not on her last one. I'd rather see the Carolina matchup anyway, honestly. Carolina's also got like pretty legit. Well, to be fair, Michelle Watterson has decent jiu-jitsu, but I like Carolina's grappling. I'd love to see that matchup.
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually. Yeah, Kovalkiewicz and her, I think, would make a really, really, really fun fight.
Angela Hill wouldn't be terrible. She's probably right there around the cusp of that as well. I think she might be coming off a loss, too. That might be a good one to throw together.
Oh, man.
Either of those, I'd like them. Who you think? Can you lean anybody?
I didn't have a name written down. Honestly, I like both of the names that you said. I like Kowalkiewicz a little bit more, if I'm being honest. If we want to see her fight somebody that's maybe a little bit higher on the rankings, and not by much, I think a Tabitha Ricci fight would be a lot of fun too.
Yeah, and that one's a pretty good matchup. I think it's pretty even.
I think it's
honestly,
fair.
Maybe Ricci. I might lean a little towards Ricci.
I would lean very slightly towards Ricci, and I have bias. I like Ricci a lot.
Yeah,
I would lean Ricci.
I wouldn't go much further than that into the rankings.
Same.
Not ready for that.
I agree. Yeah, I think if you put her against like an Amanda Ribas, a Mackenzie Dern, even like a Virna Jandiroba, it would be possibly too much. Though I do think her and Virna would probably have some fun scrambles.
Yeah, I think she'd be giving up some strength to old Virna. I think
Virna's got strength, dude. You can see it in her fights. The way that she like just hip tosses people when they're coming in on her. It's like, ooh.
She reminds me of Andrade a little bit with just that explosive, like she grabs a hold of you and you're like, oh fuck, I'm going for a ride.
Like back in the AKA days, it was like when there was an odd number of girls and like one of these small girls would get paired up against like a 175, 185 pound guy, and it's a grappling drill setup, like wall drills. It was just like painful to watch sometimes, dude.
Yeah.
But and you know, like we're like everyone, all the guys are like going easy, but at the same time, it's just, as you said, like there's an obvious strength discrepancy. Like that someone's giving up a lot of strength here.
Yeah, there's only so much you can compensate for that. I mean, just there's a certain point where just the weight alone, like you're not even trying to do anything, and you just lean on them. You're like, oh shit, I'm smashing you. Sorry.
you'd be the strongest man alive, but like if you're punching a rock, at some point you're gonna quit. The rock's still gonna be there.
Yep.
So yeah, that was a really, really fun fight. If you were a Jillian Robertson fan, for sure. And the next one we had, oh man, Ramon Tavares coming in against Sergey Sidi. Man, this fight was very, very interesting. Ramon missed weight, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And then went on the record on, I believe, his Instagram to say, this is my first time ever missing weight in a professional fight. Since he said, this is my first time missing weight since my first amateur fight or some shit like that. And then, of course, MMA Twitter detectives. We got a bunch of fucking Batmans on there. And somebody pulled up the records, which weren't really that hard to pull up, as it turns out, because he missed weight in his Dana White's Contender Series fight.
I think it was the same guy, wasn't it?
Yeah, same guy.
Jesus.
If there is a script, as the kids say, like they just put this one in for pure comedy, folks. I don't know what else they were doing. What were your thoughts on this? I don't even have anything else.
Dude, it was a mess. It was a bit of a mess. Like the fight itself was pretty fun. I didn't see the first fight. I guess Tavares, he lost the first one, right? Though
yeah.
He got knocked out the first time. Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
I didn't see that one. But I thought this fight was pretty exciting. If I remember right, there was a low blow that was like pretty loud at one point. That like,
it was blatant.
Audible. Yeah, and like you could hear it. It was pretty audible too. Like you actually heard the cup hit and everything. It was just like, oh, good God. Overall, I mean, both the dudes, I actually thought they performed pretty well. If you can set aside like all the other stuff, it's like, well, both of them, they're decent enough fighters. Like I'll watch the guys. I wish Tavares would have made weight. It would have made the win a little more sweet. Now, as far as the decision goes, being split, I feel like there was a lot of kind of weird decisions going on with
we'll
UFC
get into that.
297. Yeah, it was all over the place. But the fight itself, I thought it was a fun fight. If you set aside all the other crap, it was a good fight. I'll be watching both guys. That's about all I got on that one.
Did you think that Ramon deserved the win?
I hate taking like stances on that because I know I don't watch them 100% of the time. Like sometimes I miss stuff. Did I think going to the card that was how it was going to be read? No, I did not. What about yourself?
I gotta be honest with you. I did not think so either. I only had Ramon Tavares winning the first round. I thought he looked kind of sluggish after that, if I'm being completely honest. And I mean, like, I watched the fight and then I heard the decision and I was like, oh, maybe I missed something. And then I went and I looked at the numbers and I was like, maybe they missed something. I don't know what else to say. Like, maybe get new judges, maybe get like 5 more guys. That way there's a more meshed in decision. So hopefully consensus is correct. Because I mean, homie outlanded him 2-1 in the second round. And then in the third round, he still outlanded him. And I'm talking significant strikes too, folks, not just total strikes. Like, and this is a round by round. I don't know how you score that for Ramon, but I digress. As I said before, if for whatever reason your parlay busted, you can probably because man, them guys had a rough night at the office, folks.
Yeah.
Speaking of rough night at the office, in the next fight we had Charles Air Jourdain coming in against Sean Woodson, or as my fiance's little sister likes to call him, the oddest shaped man in MMA. To which I always respond with, he's got a pretty ideal body for Muay Thai from what I've seen. So he's like all fucking leg, which is why his pants come up to his nipples. I mean, the guy is just so odd and lanky and precise. Gosh. I mean, if I had to give the guy a nickname, I'd probably nickname him Sniper or something like that. Gosh, is that his nickname? Yeah, feels on the nose. Feels a bit on the nose there, guys. Whoever gave him that like deserves some fucking gold coins. But Sean the Sniper Woodson just went out there and he did exactly that, right? He was pretty damn sniper like. Landed at a lower clip than usual, actually, because Charles Jourdain is pretty damn elusive with the footwork. Still landed at 52.8% clip, landing 102 of 193 total strikes thrown, and 80 of those 102 thrown were fucking significant. So how about that? Fantastic fight. Great showing for both guys, if I'm being honest. Charles Jourdain just seemed to struggle a lot when it came to the takedowns. Couldn't get anything done. And I mean, I don't know whether it's a negative for him or a massive positive in terms of Sean Woodson, because Sean Woodson just had incredible balance. His balance was impeccable throughout that fight. His ability to bounce up and down on one leg, weight all of his pressure on that, and then bounce out of range and separate, just fucking chef's kiss. Like, that's the kind of takedown defense you learn when you are a predominantly Muay Thai fighter. He is a definition of a Muay Thai fighter that is able to blend it into mixed martial artists. So big fan of this guy. I always look forward to watching him fight. I was really excited about this one on paper. And I'll be honest, it went almost exactly as I had it chalked up in my mind. I figured there was a high chance that this was going to go to the decision, just because both these guys are very game and tough fighters with very durable chins. And also equally durable bodies, in my opinion. So, yeah, both of these guys went out there. They got it done. They looked incredibly tough. And again, I definitely think the right man won in this one. And I look forward to the guy's next match. Curious to hear what your breakdown on this is, and if you have any names on the tip of your tongue for Mr. Woodson.
I think you pretty well covered everything here. I don't have a whole lot to add to it. It's good to see like a hometown guy, of course, get the W. Like you see your Twitter line, like your highlights, your Instagram lines, all this stuff just like light up with people posting like support for him and stuff like that. All the local gyms and shit. So that's always cool. I kind of figured Charles Jourdain would have a little bit more to offer this in some of these exchanges and stuff. And given the consistency with which he generally performs in his fights, to your point here, does it say more about Sean? Does it say more, about how he performed, or does it say kind of more about how Charles dropped the ball? I feel like it kind of highlights Sean more a little bit here. Like, Charles Jourdain's usually pretty consistent, and to make him look this off in his game, at least for me, it's like, damn, that's a real feather in the cap for old Sean Woodson here. And the whole long limbs, fucking, those dudes are impossible to take down. They're absolutely impossible to take down. Obviously, he's going to be great at controlling range in the striking department, but it's like either Dom or DC, one of the two said it's like trying to take down a table. And it really is. Like, they're going to land on it no matter what. Like, it's just, it sucks. It absolutely sucks. They also generally are really good at locking up chokes and shit, too. Like, those are the dudes that are going to throw the weird neck cranks on you. Yeah, exactly. Just unconventional type things that are generally painful, too, because there's a lot of bone on the side of your neck, shit like that. There's not a lot of meat for cushion, but as far as next for him, you got to eventually crest into the top, the top 15. You got to at least start looking at it. I don't know, maybe somebody like Bruce Leroy. Has he fought him yet? I wouldn't be upset at that. I'm a Bruce Leroy fan too, so that's like,
I'm a big Bruce Leroy fan. I love Alex Caceres. That's actually one of the names that I had written down. I had Alex Caceres written down, and then the other name that I had is Dan 50K Ige. I think that'd be a really fun fight.
Yeah, that'd be a great one, man. I would almost lean towards Ige a little bit in that one, which hurts me to say that I'm going to be bet against the hometown guy, but
I would actually bet Woodson. Ige struggles with guys that are long and rangy that use it well.
Yeah, you're right. I worry about Ige's been working more on the calf kicks, and I'm waiting for somebody to work that on Sean. I'm waiting for it. Somebody's going to start. But
Woodson's a Thai guy, bro. Like, the way that he utilizes his Muay Thai-ness is like incredible. I truly feel like the reason nobody's used calf kicks on him or really come at him with calf kicks is because they know. Like, something that my Thai coaches will tell us when they're teaching us leg kicks. Like, I just recently started going back again just a few months ago, right? Because Mary wanted to get into it. And she's never done striking. So we're doing the beginners classes, right? Shout out Victory. Coach Aaron Pete is a fantastic coach for beginners and advanced. He runs the fight team. But he'll literally tell us, and one of the things I really like about him is like when he's teaching you things, he'll tell you like, you know, in a few months after you're good here and you go to the advanced class, they'll teach you calf kicks instead of traditional leg kicks. The reason we're not teaching you those here is because if you throw one of those against someone that's actually advanced in Muay Thai, they'll check the hell out of that. The calf kick is very easy to check compared to a higher leg kick. Because the higher leg kick, you basically want to lift your leg up and then come down across the top. So that way you're going to catch them before they can lift their leg off the line and check. Whereas if I'm throwing a calf kick, all you've got to do is point your toes down and lift your leg off the center line a little bit. And it's you versus me. It's like a baseball bat versus a baseball bat. It sucks. Yeah. I've had those hematomas. They don't feel great at all. So I truly feel like somebody like Woodson, he's quick.
Yeah.
And I think it really only takes one of those getting checked for you to be like, nope, I don't want to ever do that again. I think Ige would probably throw a really hard calf kick thinking like this is going to land and then just eat a check and be like, fuck, I made a mistake. It would, and if you eat one of those and you're not used to getting checked like that, which as you said, he's been getting a lot more proficient with those calf kicks. I haven't seen him get really hard checked from throwing one of those. I haven't seen somebody make him pay for throwing one. And I feel like the first time you really get made to pay, it's inhibiting mentally and physically because there's that oh shit moment of, oh, well, what that wasn't supposed to happen. I was supposed to hurt him. And then the secondary moment is, well, my leg is like 80% dead right now. And I rely heavily on footwork if my name is Dan Ige. So I'm fighting a guy that's longer than me. I need to get in and out of the pocket, and I just fucked my lead leg. Likely. I want to see that match. I feel like I just talked myself more into that being my pick.
Oh, I think it'd be a great fight either way. And Dan Ige being as low as he likes to play it and stuff. Supposedly Sean Woodson's got nasty knees. I mean, we've seen it a little bit. I could see a knee coming up the middle and landing also, like as long as he is and everything. Like it spells for an exciting matchup either way, no matter how it plays out. I'd love either of those. Honestly, that one's probably more exciting than the Caceres one. I feel like they would be more apt to kind of pick their shots and play a little bit of the patty. Yeah, exactly. The patty cake game.
Feel each other out. A real martial artists matchup.
Yeah, but you got 50
Ige's a fight.
Dan Ige, you know what I'm saying?
It's a fight, dude.
Yeah.
I feel it. It's one of the dog fights, bro. Yeah, I already know. Dude, this guy's a dog. So, yeah, man, I think that's the one that they need to run. That's a fun fight. I do think the knees would prove to be a problem in that fight. I think Sean Woodson would have those step knees where he takes a step back as Ige's shuffling forward and just catches him to the body, like right into the solar plexus. And I mean, like in grappling, like I know you're a grappler, so knee on belly is like, you know how deflating that shit is. Someone with like you're laughing because you know exactly what I'm talking about. I hate that shit in grappling. And that's why I don't grapple a lot. Because there are so many things that I can say that sentence about. I hate that about grappling.
It's crushing. It's soul crushing.
Good knee on belly's terrible. So like it's the same thing in Muay Thai. It's just you're stepping into it and I'm thrusting my hip and basically everything behind my knee forward with my soul and my 10 ancestors before me.
Sitting here looking at it, they ought to give Jourdain Caceres and then give Woodson Danny.
Oh, I'm not mad at that. Sean Shelby, Dana White, call us up. We got you.
Yeah, I love playing Matchmaker. That's like the best shit.
Oh, absolutely, bro. That's the funnest shit. Yeah. And just in case any of the listeners don't know who got the bonuses, we have already gone through 2 of them so far. So performance of the night bonuses went to both Jillian Robertson, an extra 50K richer, and as well as Jasmine. So good for them. You love to see it, man. 50K extra for both of those women, and hard fought battles, hard won battles, and pretty damn dominant battles. Now, this next matchup was extremely fun. I was losing my shit whenever they read the decision on this one. And man, I was wrong. I bet a shot against Nano on this one, so I'm going to go ahead and pay that up whenever I let my guy Mad Max Meridian do his breakdown. Good old Derek from The Challenge, from MTV's The Challenge, aka Garrett Armfield, fucking got it done. That guy is just a beast. And though I am joking when I say Derek from The Challenge, I can honestly say I've never seen Garrett Armfield and Derek Kaczynski in the same room at the same time. Derek Kaczynski seems to stop tweeting when Mr. Armfield is fighting. I'm just saying. They also both mysteriously happen to have that dog in them. There's like a couple of fucking coincidences here, guys. I don't know. So, what were your thoughts on this extremely fun fight between Brad Superman Katona and Garrett Derek Kaczynski Armfield?
I think you're onto something there. First off, old Detective Olin onto something. I don't, man. First off, I got the pick wrong. I thought old Katona was gonna put something together and actually like.
Hold on, dude. That was a really good Katona.
Dude, that's like one of the weird ones that I can actually nail from watching the stupid Ultimate Fighter.
I'm literally gonna picture Katona under that fucking mask now.
Yeah,
oh my god!
How he says it. Yeah, I don't know. I figured this was like a gimme fight. I honestly thought this was like the one I was probably the most confident on the night. I'm like, oh, this is probably a no-brainer here. Which sucks too, because this is one of those weird connections. He's Garrett's Kansas City, Missouri, so it's like a friend of a friend who has trained with him, and only says good thing. And he put like a fair amount. He put a couple $100s on him. He's like, no, this dude's gonna dominate. Like, you're out of your mind. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. 2-time Ultimate Fighter winner, like. Great grappling, pretty technically sound. He's not like the most flashy in any one department, but it's like if you had him, on a video game, he's probably got like 75 in all stats. Like, he's pretty fucking well-rounded. And then, I don't know, man. He kind of just dropped the ball. His striking looked forced. Like, it didn't look... He was pushing his strikes almost, I would say. Like, he just muscles everything. He's, like, got no fluidity. It makes me wonder if the mileage and the age is kind of starting to maybe catch up a little bit here. You start losing a little bit of the physical gifts that'll make up for some of the technique that you lack. He's been around the block fucking 50 times, so you gotta think at some point in time that's gonna start catching up. And I never want to be the dude who makes that call or anything like that, but it just, you see the fights and you start seeing these guys slow down a little bit. You start seeing things get a little more forced, not happen quite so natural. The reflexes slow. The scrambles just aren't there as well. They can't hold these guys down like they used to. You're like, this ain't looking great. So it lost me some money. Garrett's somebody to keep an eye on, that's for sure.
I couldn't have said it better myself, folks. That was the sound of me opening the cash register to pay the bad people that took my money on Saturday. Because I definitely did not end up betting on Garrett Armfield, even though I am a fan of his. I just thought that Brad Katona was going to be able to get it done. And as you said, there's a lot of tread on those tires, right? I think the kind of the craziest thing, in my opinion, to look at in here is looking at these guys. There was just more consistency for Garrett Armfield from start to finish across this fight. And more so than that, he had a very Dustin Poirier-like quality about him that maybe not a lot of people noticed. And I thought that I was noticing it as watching the fight. And of course, I wanted to wait till the stats came out so I could see. But I was like, man, I feel like he's getting like better, stronger as the fight goes on. And sometimes it's an obvious changing of the kind of momentum, right? The pendulum swings. You see one guy getting tired, one guy staying the same, and that's why that change happens. I truly feel like throughout the fight, Katona was like pretty similar to the way that he was throughout the fight, but Garrett Armfield consistently got better as the fight went on. And then I look at the stats, and I'll be damned if I wasn't wrong or I wasn't right. So 61% accuracy on his total strikes in round 1. 62% in round 2, and then 76% accuracy in round 3. Again, as this fight went on, the man just started coming up and pouring it on. And by the way, he increased his strike output by at least 10 or more strikes thrown every round the fight went on. So, I mean, Garrett Armfield is very, very much somebody to watch. The guy was an underdog coming into this. The odds closed, I believe, at plus 180 for Garrett Armfield. So that was easy plus money for anybody that wanted to bet it. Nano, looking at you, you son of a bitch. But, you know, good for you, bud. Bud, hope you enjoyed it. Glad you bet on Armfield. Sad I didn't. So I definitely will next time. And with that being said, guys, we have to play a little bit of matchmaker here because bantamweight is pretty shallow. It's kind of shallow. I'll be honest. With a win over somebody like Brad Katona, I don't even want to try and do the impression because you just fucking knocked it out of the park. I just think that Armfield probably works his way right on into the top 15. Probably a fight over somebody like Ricky Simone might make a little bit of sense. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there's not, outside of the top 15, there's not really a whole lot there for him. And with, again, a win over somebody like Brad Katona, who had a lot of people, especially after his last performance, his last 2 performances, really as dominant as they were, there was a lot of, I feel like there was some, I don't want to say a lot of hype, but there was some buzz around Katona. It's like, all right, this dude's making a second run at this here. Like, kind of maybe he's going to have a decent UFC career, and to go out there and kind of have the performance that Garrett did, it's like, all right, well, maybe we need to kind of start putting that same kind of weight on Garrett's name. And like you were saying, that fight was really, I don't want to say it was a coming out moment because he's had strong performances before, but it was like a moment of, I don't know, like realization of his own abilities. It's like he was growing in his own abilities as the fight was going on. He was like accepting more and more. It's like, oh no, like I'm in here, this is for real, and I can do this, and like I've got the edge over this guy. I can open up a little bit more and more and more and push this. And he was taking it. He was taken away with the fight by the end of it. Like Katona had nothing for him by the end. I don't think he's ready for somebody like Mario Batista. Ricky Simone is about the kind of the cusp. He's right there on the edge of the 15. You can't give him somebody like Umar or something like that. I feel like that might be too much. Ricky Simone it is, man. Gotta agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, again, I feel like Ricky Simone just makes a lot of sense for him. Yeah, I feel like where they are in their careers matches up, and it's really hard to deny him the top 15 spot. Ooh,
the other Ultimate Fighter, dude. Let him knock those guys out.
I'm not mad at a Cody Gibson fight either.
I think that last fight was to Katona, so he's probably looking for another one. Like, obviously, it's coming off a loss, but it's to Katona, so maybe give him another one if you really want to build up some steam, or feed him right on in there. I just feel like coming off the Ultimate Fighter, at least it's somebody with a little bit of recognition. Simone probably has more name value for like the real fans, but for the casuals, I don't know. You're giving up either way. I feel like it maybe, I don't want to say it'd be an easy win, but get some momentum going for old Garrett.
I absolutely agree. And I mean, honestly, I know that you said, don't give him the old Umar yet, but maybe he's ready for Umar.
Dude's a beast.
No, I'm just kidding. Definitely don't give him Umar.
Yeah.
Definitely, because I like Garrett. I want to see him keep winning, folks. Yeah, I think Ricky Simone is probably the way to go here. So yeah, we'll stick with that. Definitely stick with that. And we'll go ahead and jump right on into the main card here, folks. It's time. Main card was a banger. We started off with a banger too. We had Arnold Allen coming in against Movsar Evloev. Man, what a fun fight this was. Feel like it was a little bit more fun on paper than it was in real life, but it was still entertaining. I definitely have thoughts on this fight. I don't want to go off on a tangent, so I will let you take the lead. What were your thoughts on this, Mad Max?
This one, it's one going like live watching the fight, going into the decision. I was a little torn on it. I wasn't like super conflicted when they said it and everything. I was like, okay. And now hearing all the buzz about it, I feel like I guess I need to go back and rewatch it because there's some real hard stances on both sides of this, which is it's like, all right, well, shit, maybe I'm not going to be the one to take a hard stance if I'm even the slightest bit unsure, so maybe I'll go back and watch it. I wasn't super upset with this decision going to it. Like, I felt like, again, it wasn't a huge robbery, which I'm sure we'll talk about the other one later, so I'm not going to, burn that one yet. But looking at the stats, it pretty well matched up what I thought. Now, I think Arnold Allen may have done more damage with some of his strikes, but given the takedowns, the control, everything together, the full package of the fight, I wasn't super upset with the decision. But I guess I'll go back and rewatch it. The one sub attempt Arnold Allen really locked on there. That's a risky game using your neck like that as the the torque point there. He just started twisting like a top with his neck in there. It's like, Jesus Christ, he's gonna rip his own head off. But I wanted Arnold Allen to win. I figured he was a live dog. I put money on him. Take it away, man. What's your thoughts on it?
Man, I thought Allen was definitely a live dog. I put money on him as well. I lost money on him, obviously. Sad day here for the bank. But it is what it is. I didn't have any angriness or argument with the decision. Okay. I thought the decision went to the right man. I did think that he won. However, I did think that there was some stuff that was a little bit funky, maybe even a little bit fucky. Those 4 knees.
Totally forgot about that.
Those 4 knees were legal. I thought those 4 knees were 100% legal. Every single time that he was about to hit the knee, he lifted his opponent up. Evloev's hands came off the mat every single time that knee connected. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I try to stay pretty penned up when it comes to the rules of mixed martial arts engagement here on a professional scale. I thought your palm had to be down.
In Toronto, I thought they were doing the original rules, which is like anything but the soles of your feet. So, like literally anything but the soles of your feet is what I.
So fingertips count.
Anything but the soles of your feet is literally the rule. Is how I understood it. Now, as far as the replay goes, I've not watched it shot for shot as to whether.
Okay, if that's the case, then that changes things. That changes things.
From what I understand, they're literally the last place that still goes by those rules too. They go by the.
I was gonna say that's fucking archaic, bro. I didn't realize that they still went by the old rule of that. That sucks because it's been years. It's been like 6-7 years now since that rule changed.
Exactly, and there's still a couple that have like the weird dissenting, like what is the full jargon?
What is a grounded opponent?
Exactly. They're the ones who are like the last bastion of the old school rules, from what I understand. That's
one day everyone will have the same unified rules, and 12 to 6 elbows won't be illegal either.
You would think, or just let the knees go, man. Let them go if they're gonna.
Let the knees go. I did get this one wrong. I did bet against Nano again, so Nano, you fucker, do a shot in Mexico.
Evloev looked good. He's a decision machine, but dude does what he does.
He is a decision machine. I couldn't have said that better myself. But with that being said, he's 18-0, man. He's that next guy. And I mean, from what you just broke down, it sounds like he ate 4 illegal knees and said, "No, I'm good. Let's keep going, brother." So respect to him. I don't know what else there is to say. He fights out of American top teams, so you got to think his striking is going to keep improving as well. But I mean, as you said, he is a bit of a decision machine, right? Since making it into the UFC, he has not gotten a single finish. And before then, he was knocking people out, which seemed like left and right. So, I mean, I hope he starts getting some of those subs and knockouts here in the UFC. Otherwise, it's going to be really, really hard to generate a huge fan base surrounding him as a fighter. But I digress. We're not here to talk about how he needs to tweet and how he needs to dress and if he needs to dye his hair like a piece of cotton candy. Instead, we're going to talk about who we should probably fight next. I do have a name on the tip of my tongue, but I'm going to let you take the lead on this one. And I'm curious, did you have someone on the tip of your tongue or nah?
I've got a couple that I'd be interested in seeing. First one that just immediately pops to mind, and maybe this is a little bit of recency bias, but I'd love to see Josh Emmett. I think that's a good seasoned vet, a guy with decent grappling who's not... I think he's not going to get quite as dominated in the grappling exchanges as some of the other guys might. So maybe give something for Mobstar to look at there, a different look, different style. Ortega's matched up with somebody, right?
To my knowledge, I thought that fight fell through. That's who I had written down. I had Brian Ortega written down. Maybe I'm wrong here.
I would love that one. I'd love that one.
That's the one that I had written down because I thought it'd be a really fun grappling match. Oh no, he's supposed to fight Yair Rodriguez in Mexico City, February 24th.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Cause Yair would have been also a really, really fun matchup, but also that's a hell of a jump from 9 to number 2. Josh Emmett's right there, smack dab in the middle at number 6. So let's use him as a speed bump in the road and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I'm definitely not mad at that.
Ooh,
and I also am going to be
winner of Calvin Kattar and Aljo.
Ooh! You just reminded me how much I hate that fight.
I'd like to see the winner of that one go against them. That would be another one that's right there in the middle.
Oh man, you just reminded me how much I hate that fight.
Who you got in that one?
Man, I don't know. I like both guys a lot. But we've seen Calvin Kattar struggle with lengthy guys that are able to get off their game and basically like suffocate him. And Aljo's a fucking anaconda, dude. He'll suffocate most people if you let him. So it's tough. But Aljo's also going up a weight class. So will he be a weaker version of himself? Or will he be the Dustin Poirier version of going up a weight class and just look like an absolute fucking hoss up there and look like he probably never should have been at the lower weight class? Who do you have in that one?
Ooh, my gut goes towards Calvin, just because Calvin also wrestled for quite a while, from what I understand. Like had decent wrestling and shit, but
and he's strong. He's so strong.
Aljo's he's done those. He did like 2 recent grappling tournaments though, and looked 1 fucking huge, but 2 strong as all get out in both. Yeah. Like he was
the spinning toss maneuver for the armbar defense. I was like,
helicoptering out of it.
Is that a real defense or is that just for show?
That's just being strong and athletic, like just fucking
slapping
dudes around. There's just a huge glaring hole in Aljo's game, and somebody like Calvin who hits pretty hard. Aljo's shown that his chin's not great. Calvin can get off. Now, he's a bit of a slow starter, but if he goes out there and is willing to throw early, I could see him hurting Aljo, unfortunately.
Yeah, same. I could definitely see him hurting Aljo pretty early on. He hits very hard, and he's very, very strong in general, right? So yeah, it's a fight I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I think loser of that would be a good matchup, though.
Yep. For
our boy Movsar. So moving into the next one, we have Chris the Action Man Curtis coming in against Marc-Andre Barriault. And again, I have to say at least one more time, maybe more than one more time, but at least one more time. If you're parlay busted, I'm really, really sorry for you. Marc-Andre Barriault, man, he came out there, not able to get it done over Chris the Action Man Curtis, who just outlanded him on total strikes. Outlanded him on total significant strikes. There wasn't a knockdown to be seen. There wasn't a takedown to be seen. I mean, these guys were just throwing caution to the wind. I don't think there wasn't even a takedown attempted in this fucking fight, folks. These guys went out there and between the two of them threw over 500 strikes in a 15-minute fight. That's a lot, okay? That's a lot. And by the way, between the two of them, they also happened to throw over 500 significant strikes attempted. So they weren't pulling any punches. They were trying to hurt each other. These guys were fighting each other like the opposing force stole their mother's lunch money. or their little sister's bicycle. I don't know, dude. Like, these guys were angry. They were throwing lead. And Chris Curtis just was the better man out there. He looked really good, slipping, moving, had the great boxing style head work and footwork, or head movement and footwork. And you love to see it, man. Marc-Andre Barriault, I don't think this is the end for him. I definitely think that he still has more to give, more tread on the tire, so to speak. But man, Chris the Action Man Curtis, at 41 fights into his professional career, the man just seems to be like a fine whiskey or a fine wine. He gets better with age and just keeps on giving. Folks, I love this guy. I think he's fantastic, and I definitely have a name on the tip of my tongue for him. You're not going to like it. America's not going to like it. Fuck, I don't even really like it. That's a lie. I love it. That's why it's the name on the tip of my tongue. But I'm going to save it. And for now, tell me what your thoughts on this fight were.
Man, I don't agree with people online. I've seen a shitload of people saying that this fight was not. They're saying that this one was bordering on a snooze fest. Wasn't a very exciting fight. This, that, and the other. I'm like, what? Am I missing something? Chris Curtis responded to it at one point, but I think this is like the most strikes he's thrown in his entire career in a single fight, something like that. I thought I saw that stat thrown around. Maybe it wasn't like, the most flashy matchup or something like that, but these dudes were both throwing. They were both throwing with bad intentions, both of them landing, both of them proving they got a good chin. I think Chris Curtis is a little unorthodox with some of the way like he throws things, so it's a little bit harder to get a read on. He also kind of has a weird build, so he just Curtis looks like he's sparring out there. Like, what? No, he didn't. I like Chris Curtis.
Brother, I love you, but if we're sparring and you hit me like that, we are not friends anymore.
Yeah, we're fighting.
Like,
now
dog,
also.
we are fighting now. We're not sparring. Like, if this is the Anik Squared show, it just became the Anik Get Squared Up show.
Yeah.
It's going down.
For real. That's sparring with Sean Strickland sparring. That ain't normal sparring. That's like, I ain't trying to get better. I'm trying to fight somebody today and call it sparring. But overall, fun matchup. I think, like you said, I don't know that Marc-Andre is going to go anywhere. He's one of these dudes he pretty much guaranteed that he's going to come there to fight. He's going to put on a relatively exciting matchup. So just keep him around. Give him a little more leeway. Give him a couple extra losses. He'll probably end up putting a knockout together at some point. He's not dissimilar to like a vet like Ponzinibbio or something like that, where it's like he doesn't have the greatest record, but that's not what he's here for. He's here to put on exciting fights. Kind of honestly the same as Action Man. Like, he doesn't have the greatest overall record, but he's going to come out there. He's going to fight. If he connects clean, he's probably going to put your fucking lights out. So I thought it was a fun one. Thought it was a real fun one. Who do you got next for old Chris Curtis? You got me curious now.
I'm almost wondering if maybe I shouldn't have said that I have a name on the tip of my tongue and just have us move past this and wait till later. But you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go ahead and say it now. I think Sean Strickland versus Chris Curtis is a really, really fun fight.
I think they're planting the seeds already, too. I've already seen people mentioning it, asking him how he would feel about taking the fight and stuff. It would not surprise me at this point.
He literally said, he tries to kill me and take my head off for free anyways. I might as well get paid for it.
Yep.
And
I was thinking Paul Craig. I feel like
Paul Craig?
Yeah.
Paul Craig?
I think that'd be a fun one. They're right there next to each other in the rankings, and like, Action Man's only ever been subbed once, so it's not the most favorable matchup for Paul Craig, but at the same time, like, it's an exciting one. We can see what happens.
I think Paul Craig gets knocked the fuck out, man.
Yeah, probably. And I want
to for sure. But I'm here to see it. I'm here to watch it. I'm a degenerate lover of fights, skilled violence. This next, god damn, dude, how many shots do I have to do? Okay, cool. I think this is the last one. I was like, how many did I get wrong in a row? Like, I did good, and then I stopped, and then I did good. I had this one chunk in the middle where there just happened to be at least one fighter in that chunk in the middle on every one of my parlays. So it was a rough night. I did hit the one single on flyweight unders, and definitely gonna have to go to the drawing board for sure when it comes to next week's episode of us doing these bets, man. But I
You took the
digress.
Action Man, right?
I did take the Action Man in that last one. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay, because I remember we were the same on that one. We both took them.
Yeah, so the ones that I got wrong so far. So I did I said I was gonna stay away from Gordon versus Flick, and I took the under on that, which hit. Jasmine
Já se dáváte,
versus Priscilla Cachoeira, I took for sure Jasmine.
já se dáváte.
And I mean, come on, that one definitely hit with the performance of the night. Again, congratulations to Jasmine.
Já se dáváte.
And
They should pay twice for that one.
you know what I'm saying? The Johan Lioness versus Sam Patterson fight. I believe I did take Sam Patterson in that one. I just thought that he was going to be a strong guy, and boy, was he. I was wrong in the Polyana Viana fight. I think I stayed away. Or no, I was wrong in the Sergey CD fight. I think I took CD here. I have to go back and look because I may have avoided that one as well. I don't want to throw myself under the bus. I'm gonna say I didn't miss that one. Charles Jourdain versus Sean Woodson, I definitely got right. Garrett Armfield versus Brett Katona, I definitely got wrong. And man, Arnold Allen, I thought the dog was gonna get it done, but boy, I digress. It turned out to be a little bit of a dog versus a lion out there. So man, the dog got torn up by that lion, and you know it happens. But Chris Curtis one I was definitely right on, and in this next one I was definitely wrong on. Fuck, man. I wanted this guy to win. I really, really wanted this guy to win. You know how much I wanted him to win? Malott, man. Malott. I wanted him to win Malott. But he didn't get it done. I love that you saw that bad joke coming from a fucking mile away. That just again shows me that you are my people. We are the same. So yeah, man, I wanted him to win Malott, but fuck. Turns out there was a Haitian persuasion making an invasion all the way in Canada. Again, guys, the parlays were not doing well on Saturday night, and you can definitely... I'm gonna beat that joke like a dead horse, and that's okay. So, Neil Magny, he went out there and he got fucking just dominated like a sub in a bad porno for the first 2 rounds, folks. He might as well have been wearing a ball gag and a set of chains, and Malott had the whips. You know what I'm saying? He walked into that octagon saying, "Come ready, chips, dips, chains, and whips." He is ready to serve. No, anyways, he hit it hard for the first 2 rounds, but he just couldn't seem to put away Neil Magny, the Haitian persuasion. Magny was just very strong and, I mean, durable. I think durable is the biggest word, right? Like, he was eating so many shots, it felt like. But then you go back and you look at the numbers, and I mean, in round 1, Malott only landed 20 strikes, which isn't a lot, especially if you compare that to the 12 that came against him from Neil Magny, right? So only an 8-strike differential. But then you look at round 2, and it was 18 strikes landed to 67. That's a huge fucking differential here, folks. Malott was also going 100% on his takedowns. But then in the 3rd round, Neil Magny came out there and put it on him. He made up for everything, outlanding his opponent 80-13 strikes, and making his opponent go 50% on his takedowns, tiring him out, and just ultimately getting the finish here in the 3rd round by way of TKO with just 15 seconds left. And I have to ask, if this fight goes the distance, if it doesn't get finished with that 15 seconds, does Malott get the judge's nod? Did he do enough in the first 2 rounds for that last round to not be a 10-8 and negate the entire situation into a draw?
Oh, I think absolutely it does. I think unfortunately he fumbled it right there at the very end of the fight. I think he was about yay close to the goal line. Do you think he had it 2 rounds to 1, or do you think they would have done 10-8 and it made it a draw?
If I'm being honest, I think they probably would have gone a 10-8, but I still don't think it would have been a draw because I think Malott 10-8'd him in the 2nd round.
Okay.
So I still think it would have ended up being a 29-28 kind of situation.
Yeah. I definitely see that.
Yeah. I mean, I I can't agree more, man. I think he truly fumbled the bag here in this fight against Neil Magny. He kind of, to quote Fast and the Furious, when the like autistic kid loses his dad's car, he hits the nos. The dude's like, too soon, Junior. Like that was basically what happened to Malott, man. He hit the nos too soon. And then fucking Neil Magny turns around. He's all, too soon, Junior. And he straddled him and he showed him some big boy stuff. And it was bad. It was bad news bears. It probably hurt him a lot. Hurt him a lot. Hurt him a lot.
Hurt him a lot.
Those really bad jokes, man. They're just going to keep on coming. So great fight for Neil Magny. Not so great fight for Mike Malott, the hometown hero. But he is one of those guys that is, I feel like he's a win or learn kind of fighter. He's not a win or lose kind of fighter, right? So he's going to learn a lot from this. And, the losses are what teach you the most. You don't learn anything from a win. You learn tenfold from a loss. You know this from doing grappling, from doing martial arts in general. You know this. So very, very intrigued to see what happens next for Malott. But got to talk a little bit about what should happen next for Mr. Neil Magny. In the welterweight division, there's a lot of different names that we could throw him in there against. Where Neil Magny is at in his career, I think it makes sense to throw him against people that are other big household names. You don't want to throw him against a person that nobody's ever heard of. And call me crazy here, but I'm just going to throw it the fuck out there, Mad Max. I got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson as his next up.
Oh, that's not a bad one there. That's not a bad one at all. I don't hate it. I think
you don't love it.
Well, I think I like it. I just don't think Stephen Thompson would take the fight at this point. I think he's kind of at this point in his career, he's going to take up or not at all.
That's fair.
Yeah,
good on him.
I was actually thinking maybe first off, the third of a unit on Neil Magny at plus 280 cashed in pretty nice.
You had a third of a unit on Magny?
Yeah, I figured this was Magny's fucking huge. People don't realize how big he is also. And like Malott is not a small dude, and Magny was still even bigger than he was. Magny's a big dude. He's also one of these kind of like wet blanket guys that he's just good at using his size. He's good at getting a hold of you. You may ragdoll him a little bit, but you're going to gas yourself out doing it. You're probably not going to get the finish, and he's still going to be there just like he was in the first round.
Yep.
100%. Give him the rematch against Chiesa. He lost the first one. That's been 3 years, something like that, 4 years, maybe somewhere in that ballpark. I'd like to see that. They're right there on top of each other in the rankings. I'd say do that. Give him the rematch there.
I'm not mad at that. I'm definitely not mad at that either. Yeah. Fuck, man. Yeah, I'm definitely not mad at that.
2021. So, been a little bit. It's actually January 20th of 2021. So,
literally like right at the year mark.
Almost exactly, yeah.
Or 2 year mark, rather.
3. 24, brother.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah.
That doesn't even feel real.
I know. It's fucked up.
Holy shit. I feel like that's the first time it's sunk in, dude.
Does Henat Fakhretdinov have another fight scheduled yet or no?
What did you just say to me?
Henat? Yeah. He's like, you watch your mouth. What'd you just call me?
What did you say?
I don't think he's got one scheduled, though, does he?
You can fuck red your Danov, bro.
Fakhretdinov.
Fuck Redden yourself. Fuck Redden yourself, but no, fuck Redden. I don't think he has a fight lined up, does he?
I think he's open. I don't see anything. I'm trying to find some news on it.
Fakhretdinov has nothing lined up that's official, at least on the Sherdog level. So yeah, man, I'm mad at it. I'm not mad at it. So you guys saw, so you can tell Nano in the next episode that I paid up on my fucking shots owed, and I'm going to make him pay up on his shots owed for sure in the next episode, because he was wrong as well on quite a few of them too. So this is one of them that I believe he was wrong on. So this one is one that I was definitely excited about. This is a woman I've been watching for, well over a decade here, if I'm being honest with you guys. You know who I'm talking about. You know exactly who I'm talking about. Talking about Rocky. Talking about Raquel Pennington. Raquel Rocky Pennington, folks. She came in there against Mayra Bueno Silva. And, you know, if she had lost, I'd be playing some sad music. But instead, that's right, baby. Rocky got it done. She got it done, folks. And look at that. The guy has the auto Rocky Raquel Pennington card here. The Panini cards. Shout out. Shout out. What up, Jalen in the chat? Let's go, baby.
What up?
Holy
Big
smokes,
J?
MMA Anomaly got Mad Max on the cast.
What up, boy? What's going on?
Let's go. And shout out Jalen. He actually has a TikTok live stream that does card pulls for NFL, NBA, MMA, all of the above. Jalen, feel free to go ahead and put the @ for that in the chat, and I will go ahead and blast that up on the screen for you, brother. So, Rocky Raquel Pennington is who we're here to talk about in this moment, though, folks. And, you know, I saw people saying that this fight was boring. You know, Amanda Nunes is coming out of retirement because of the sheer state that this division has been left in with how boring things are. Fuck out of here, folks. I mean, come on. These women went out here and just threw a ton. I mean, sure. Mayra Bueno Silva probably could have threw something more there. I mean, she only threw 118 strikes, but fuck, folks. Raquel Pennington, she definitely earned the nickname Rocky. The woman threw almost 400 strikes. She threw 342 strikes, folks. And by the way, she landed 265 of them, 77.5% clip. 134 of them were significant strikes. Mayra Bueno Silva did a better job at laying down on her back than competing with those strikes. You saw it for the last 30 seconds. I saw it for the last 30 seconds. Jesus Christ saw it for the last 30 seconds. And we were all disappointed by it. You would think that she was fucking fighting over the last cookie in the cookie jar and had given up because she realized she was full. Not for a UFC world title. But Raquel Pennington, man, she was just putting in work out there. You could tell that there was zero quit in her. Even when she was eating significant strikes, the woman was moving forward. When it comes to my official scorecard here, I'll be honest with you. I gave her opponent one round and one round only. I thought Mayra Bueno Silva won the first round, and that was even debatable. Okay, so I'm just going to say it outright. This was a dominant performance from start to finish from Rocky. I thought she did everything needed to destroy the Thundercat herself, Chitara.
Thundercat!
That's awesome.
Oh!
That's fucking sweet.
So yeah, I was very impressed with her performance. I was impressed with her performance. And Raquel Pennington, I thought she was just absolutely beast-like. And I think as long as Amanda Nunes doesn't come back, she's probably going to be able to defend that belt a handful of times too. What were your thoughts on that one, Mad Max?
No, I would agree with you. I think that's about the only person who's like a clear-cut win over her per se. She should, in theory, have a pretty notable experience advantage over just about anybody in the division. She's been around the block way more than anybody else. As far as the online critics saying that the fight was boring, I don't think I could agree that the fight was boring. I actually thought there was quite a few exciting exchanges in the striking. There was several grappling moments where it was just like, holy shit. Like there was some submission moments there where they were not the cleanest submissions, but I think Maeda has the weird strength where she also will grab you at some weird unconventional angles, get her arm in there and crank on your neck, and you end up tapping before you realize what's happened with it. But no, the fight was not boring. Was it sloppy? Yeah, there were moments where it was a little sloppy, but sometimes that makes for the most fun fights. Raquel, as she said herself, she's probably not going to be around for a whole lot longer. She wants to get a couple more fights in, so it was cool to see, you know, a perennial vet like that get it done at the tail end of their career, finally kind of get their flowers, so to speak, and like really, you know, achieve their aspirations. I don't know. It's just nice to see. It's like, damn, she's really put in the work. She's really been there. She's been highs and lows in the sport. She's kind of experienced it all, and to finally reach the pinnacle, it's like, yeah, that's the ultimate That's the story right there. That's what you want to see. So good. I'm glad to see it for it. If I had to pick for one of the two, that's who I would rather see win it at this point. It's better for the story. I thought Maeda would get the submission at some point. I figured she was probably going to give up quite a bit in the striking. She leaves a lot to be desired in that department, but I figured she'd have the grappling on lock and that she'd snatch up a submission. And there are points where it looked like it was going to happen, but no such luck. So long live Rocky. Let's see her hold it for a minute or two.
Absolutely agree with you, man. Long live Rocky. I hope she holds on to it for a little bit. I think that she'll be a very honorable champion, albeit maybe not the highest finish rate or anything like that. She's very well rounded, and she's put in the work. She's put in years of work for this, folks. And folks, I mean, now it's time. Without further ado, it's time for the main event of the evening.
It's time!
We got Sean Strickland coming in against DDP, Dricus du Plessis. This fight is one of those where you already know that these guys were fucking ready to go in and go ham. Sean Strickland was angry with daddy issues. He was coming in saying, we're going to go out there, we're going to give you guys a fucking war, freedom! But instead, when he went out there, it felt a little bit more like the song playing in Sean Strickland's head sounded like. So man, I'll be honest with you. All jokes aside, I did think that Sean Strickland was going to bring a little bit more anger, a little bit more recklessness, and a little bit more disregard for his well-being than he did on Saturday night, but he just didn't. Instead, he came out there and he got taken down 6 times for the first time in his UFC career at this new division of middleweight. Now, in welterweight, obviously, he was taken down a handful of times, but this is his first time ever conceding a takedown in middleweight. And he conceded 6 of 11 of them. So 55% landed by Dricus du Plessis. Now, I am curious to hear your breakdown on this one in a little bit more detail and just kind of who you had winning each of these rounds. And even if you just want to kind of run through real quick, like, do you agree with the decision? Did you think DDP won the fight?
My initial gut reaction, so this is also coming from somebody who was pulling for Strickland to win. I like both the guys, regardless of the trash talk and everything else. I like both of them. Going to the initial decision, I thought Dricus probably had enough to do it. The fact that I was worried about Sean losing, to me, says a lot. It's like, okay, well, if my gut is worried about this decision, that speaks volumes there. Dricus probably did enough to at least get the nod. The fact that it was even close should indicate that it's not a robbery to anybody. So anybody screaming robbery should chill out. But I was leaning towards Dricus when it was going into the decision, and I wasn't happy about it, but I can admit it, and that's from somebody who wanted Sean to win. So I feel like that should tell you a decent amount there. What about yourself? What was your initial response to it? And then we can get into
all right, good job, champ.
Just want to say good job. I agree. I know you're a Strickland fan, right? Like,
I like both of them, but I just like I like the story arc. But as far as who's like an actual nicer guy, no, I think Dricus is the dude I'd rather have a beer with. Did you see him chug that beer today, by the way?
Dude, yes.
Yeah.
That is a skill. That is a skill that I have never learned or understood.
I think he's way funnier, too. He has almost like the Aussie sense of humor, like Volk in them. It's like the rugby.
He seems like the fun cousin or fun uncle that you'd want to hang out and have a beer with. Dricus is that guy. DDP is definitely he's seemingly a good guy. In my opinion, I did think that he did enough to win the fight. The only rounds that I actually gave to Sean Strickland in this fight were rounds 5 and round 1. Thought Strickland did a really, really exceptional job in the last round for the most part. And in the first round, he set the pace early on, dictated the distance and distance control of the fight. But then after that, he kind of shied away from what makes him good. And granted, I know that he's a jab merchant, right? Like he throws really, really solid jabs. But I wanted to see more than just a jab, 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 cross, jab, jab, cross. you got to do more than that. You've got to mix in leg kicks. You've got to invade his space, and you've got to make him pay whenever he misses. And I mean, he made a miss, but he just didn't make him pay off it enough. Like, they landed the same amount of strikes in the second round. I just thought Dricus had more impact in that round. And also the narrative of the headbutt causing the gash. Folks, grow the hell up, please. There was a right cross that very obviously cut his face open. After that, they rubbed heads because they were having a fucking scrambling exchange. And sure, that may stretch the gash a little bit, but that happens in almost every single fight, in or out of the UFC. Typically, whenever you're having grappling exchanges and my head is rubbing your head, if you already have a cut, that cut is going to get worse. If I have a cut, that cut is going to get worse. So if you go and you look at these clips of the headbutt, I've watched every one of them that I've seen posted in slow motion, slowed down to like a 20th of the fucking time speed or 100th of the time speed. And you can see that he's already cut before the headbutt, guys. Like, you can back that same clip up. Like, John Anik posted it himself. So the cross, the right hand is what cut him open. It happens. The heads grazing, like, these two guys were both thrashing forward with their heads. They're both launching their heads in whenever they're throwing these strikes. So I'm surprised they didn't clash heads more seriously throughout the fight, if I'm being honest, the way that both these guys fight.
It happens a lot in boxing when they're doing that kind of thing, and they'll clash heads. But my whole thing is, like, so in gray, weird areas like this where we can't determine for sure whether or not any of those headbutts caused the cut, or if they exacerbated the cut, or if they made it worse. We can't be sure on any of it, unfortunately. And the initial video, to me, it did not look like that caused the cut. The second video where they were up against the cage, that one to me looked like it was more possible. But regardless, let's rule all of that out by simply saying Sean Strickland said himself during the fight that he accepted the cut for what it was, that the blow was going to get in his eye. He said that he was just like, fuck it, let's go for it. If you accept it during a fight, you can't then, after the fact, say that that was why you lost the fight. You picked those terms for the battleground. Like, that's...
Yes.
You took that, so you go with that. That's the cards that you chose to play with. So take out any of the gray area with the video, where it happened, who did the headbutt, was it intentional. You can take out all that. You accepted that. You didn't make a stink about it to the ref. You picked that battleground. You picked those cards. You play with them. That's how that works. And you want to play the man card. That's how a man plays those cards. So that's... I don't know. That's how I was raised. That's pretty cut and dry to me. Like, if you pick those terms, you can't then bitch about them afterwards. So, and that's, again, coming from somebody who wanted Strickland to win. You can't then bitch about it after the fact. So, that's my 2 cents on it, at least.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think if you're going to play the game, you got to accept the kind of consequences, right?
You made your bed, lie in it. That's like the classic.
You made your bed and lie in it, my guy. I love that fucking phrase. You can ask Mary. I say that kind of shit all the time. It drives her nuts.
Good old Kentucky sayings there. Like, I heard my mom say that a million times.
We say that in Louisiana a lot too. I think like South, Midwest, typically very similar shared phrases. So, man, I mean, this is one of those fights where I feel like we could probably matchmake for both these guys. You already heard me earlier in the breakdowns here say that I think Chris Curtis versus Sean Strickland makes a lot of sense. I just think that one would be a really, really fun fight. Now, when it comes to DDP's first title defense, it's got to be Israel Adesanya in Africa. I just think that has movie narrative written all over it.
I would agree with that. The thing I'm hung up on is the Chris Curtis. I think for the story, the Chris Curtis one is fun, but for like the rankings and stuff like that, it doesn't make a ton of sense. I almost would rather see Sean and Robert Whittaker.
Ooh, how about Whittaker?
I like that matchup a lot. But as far as the Izzy and Dricus, like, I mean, that's easy money right there. You'd be silly not to book that one. Or you could honestly do the rematch. You could get away with the rematch, and I think it would sell. So you got a lot of options just depending on injuries and how that matches up with the UFC. I think you got options.
Yeah, I mean, I think old Hobbit Hitaka would be a pretty good option, man. That's how Paolo says his name. Hobbit Hitaka. It's just so fun to say that way.
Dude, I didn't even think about it. Paulo Costa would be a fun dude to throw somewhere in that mix as well.
There's a reason I was mentioning that now. Mr. Beautiful himself. He does have a fight lined up, right? But that being said, Mr. Paulo Costa, even when he has a fight lined up, he could pull out of that fight. It's actually supposed to be him versus Hobbit Hitaka right now.
That's right.
If he pulls out of that fight, Sean Strickland versus Hobbit Hitaka would be a fun fight. So I think that's the fight to make. Now that you mentioned it, that would definitely be a really, really fun one. Do you agree with the DDP matchup, though? DDP versus Israel Adesanya?
I do, and I also think your boy Brendan Allen could be thrown in the mix. But, yeah, I 100%. Like, Izzy and Dreykus is a no-brainer. Like, it's easy money. You could do that one all day long. Throw it in Africa. That's easy money. Easy money.
Bro, you put Brendan Allen in Africa, and he'll obsess some Africans because he's bringing the belt back home to America.
That'd be a fun fight right there. That'd be a fun fight.
Fuck, that'd be a fun fight. What a clash of styles. I can't help but think, and I mean, call me crazy here, as a DDP fan, I feel like Allen would go out there and look a lot like Jasmine.
Yes,
and just put it on him, man. I feel like it would be a dominant performance.
Give him Sean. Give Brendan Allen Sean.
He does have a loss to Sean.
Oh, does he really? I didn't realize
the only two people he's lost to at middleweight are Sean Strickland and Chris Curtis.
I remember the Chris Curtis one.
I hate that I know that off the top of my head. Did I just pull that out of my ass? That's not real. I'm making that up.
You're all over it. Let him get it back. Shit. I'm sure he wants it back.
Oh, no, I was right. That's actually a fact. Yeah, the only two middleweight losses he has are Sean Strickland and Chris Curtis. Man, when I like a fighter, I really fucking keep it in the banks.
I feel like you got to give him a chance to get that one back, man.
He's been asking to get that one back, dude.
That'd be a fun.
And let me tell you, like Brendan Allen, when it comes to Brendan Allen, like there's more than meets the eye. I feel like the guy has improved significantly. All right, he has transformed, if you will, into a whole new fighter since the last time he fought Sean Strickland. I think that's a fun fight. Brendan Allen versus Sean Strickland is definitely one I'm going to tweet out into the hemisphere and see if anybody picks it up, see if we can get it to catch some wildfire here.
Yeah, I might have to throw that one out too. I'll support that. That'd be
man.
Fun.
I think that'd be a fun fight.
Revenge. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could even, with Chris Curtis having the win, you could actually do the actual rematch if you wanted. But as far as the ranking goes, it makes more sense for Strickland. They're closer. I love it.
Absolutely, man. That'd be a fun fight, dude. Sean Strickland versus B. Allen. Give it to me. Inject it into my veins, folks. Oh, man. I love it. I think we just played the best game of matchmaker here. Could have for UFC 297, folks. And with that being said, guys, we made it through the entirety of the card. Me and good old Mad Max Meridian here. Man. What a great night of fights. And it felt like we waited forever for these fights to happen. And then we were given fucking Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. What an interesting fight that was. And then UFC 297. And now we have another week of hiatus. So we got no fights until the following week, where we are getting a headliner or a fight card that's headlined by Nasruddin Imavov versus Roman Dolidze. But if you're not stoked about that one, don't worry, folks. Don't worry. There's at least 2 to 3 fights that I'm ready to get you excited for. Okay, and those 3 fights, in my opinion, are these. We got Renato Money Moicano coming in against Drew, the best-looking man in the business, Dober. Or, you know what I'm saying? Red Roberson Dober on over. That guy's a fucking stud. And you already know that's going to just be a money fight. Come on, guys. These guys are going out there to throw hands, throw feet, like head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Someone's going down. You already know. And in the next one, we got Mr. Randy Rude Boy Brown, a.k.a. Mr. Touch and Go himself, I say again, Mr. Randy Rude Boy Brown. He was actually in this very show in the stream just a couple weeks ago. So make sure you check that guy out. He's coming in against Muslim Salikov. Muslim Salikov is no joke. He is no slouch. He is no scrub, as they say. The man is an absolute beast. I know you're thinking the name Salikov. He's probably going to be a wrestler. His fucking nickname is the King of Kung Fu. I would tell you to probably shut up if you think he's a wrestler. Come out here and watch the fight, folks. It's going to be a barn burner of a fight, okay? And you already know Rude Boy Brown puts on shows. The guy is someone who was winning that fight up against old Jackie Three Names himself, Jack Della Maddalena, up until he wasn't. He made just a quarter second of a mistake, and Jackie Three Names had to just pop. It happens, you know. This is the game. This is the way that this sport goes. And I digress. I said I had 3 fights for you to get you interested. 3 fights to get you interested. And so I do. Talking about Vivian Araujo coming in against the hottest prospect that you haven't heard of. I'm talking about Natalia Silva, folks. This, if Dana White doesn't call it the if you don't know, now you know, it's going to be the if you don't know, now you know. And Jalen back in the chat for all your TCG and trading card needs. Check these guys out on the Ballers Bank. It's at the Ballers Bank on TikTok. They do live shows. They bust open the cards. You pay for them. They ship them to you. You get to see them opened on the live stream. Super sick. And yeah, make sure you check them out after tuning into the MMAnomaly podcast. I'm sure they're going to be live tonight too. So with that being said, guys, as I just stated, there is no fight card coming up this Saturday. So we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do with the upcoming episode, whether it's Wednesday or Thursday. I don't want to do 2 breakdown episodes breaking down the fight. So we're going to have to be a little bit innovative here, right? So I already have a little bit of a plan. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and drop it here. Just going to drop it here before I go over it with the co-host Jive Turkey Nano, and also extend the olive branch here to Mad Max Meridian, see if he wants to do a 3-way, because as Justin Timberlake said, it's okay if it's in a 3-way. If you would like to join the next episode, I'm going to fine tune and see if it's on Wednesday or Thursday. And whenever I find that out, I will offer you the time slot. If you're free, awesome. If not, we'll have you next time. But I'm thinking we'll probably play a little extended version of Matchmakers Extraordinaire and put together our dream UFC 300 card, as well as what fights we hope to see on International Fight Week this year when we're all there in Vegas.
That sounds like a lot of fun, man. Yeah, hit me up once you guys nail down a time or whatever. Let me know, and I'd love to make it. That's the matchmaking shit. I can do that all day long, man.
It's so fun.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
That'd be a great job to have right there. That and commentating, dream jobs.
I was gonna say, if I could do that or commentating or bit of both, oh my gosh, dude! Like,
yeah.
They say find you a job that makes it feel like you're not working. That would be it, I think. Agreed. Yeah. So again, thanks everybody that dropped in today. Thanks for those of you that did drop in the chat. And if you didn't drop in the chat, we appreciate you anyway. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot to play these clips. These clips were fucking hilarious too. I actually had a friend / local bar owner make picks before the fights here. Gonna play those quick. I'd be remiss if I didn't here. So let's see who he picked in the co-main event here.
What is up, fight fans? What is happening over here right now? This guy is definitely not ready, but that's okay. Olin, aka MMAnomaly here, with a diehard fight fan and a local bar owner, Eli, aka
Kung Pao Frank.
Kung Pao Frank.
Follow me, Kung Pao Frank. But yes, Bottle Rocket Bar and Grill, East Village, San Diego, corner of 60th and F Street, the most eastern bar in East Village, San Diego. So come holla at me.
With that being said, we are going to jump right into some fight picks, folks. Actually, before that, I think we have a little bit to celebrate. Did your team win today?
Go Niners. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Just took it. We're going all the Super Bowl. We're going to win that shit.
And
I cuss on this?
You can definitely cuss on this.
Perfect.
This is YouTube, my guy. And with that being said, guys, I know you might be wondering, if you're new here, if you're returning, you still might be asking yourself, why is the mic attached to a fork? I'm going to tell you why. Because around here, everybody gets forked up, folks. Whether it's because of the picks or the drinks, you already know there's something that stinks, and it's the fork mic. So, who are your picks for the co-main event and the main event? In the co-main event, we have Maida Bueno Silva coming in against Raquel Rocky Pennington. Who you got?
So I think over ring time, Raquel Pennington has had definitely a little bit more than that than Maida.
A little bit over a decade.
But, I think we'll see. Veteran moves, right? When the stakes are higher, I think I'm going to pick Pennington over this one.
That's right, folks. Everybody gets forked up with the fork mic, and you already know that when I'm there, man, the forked is intensified. Man. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man.
Fork Radinov.
I'm more of a spork myself, because even though we're getting forked up, you can bet there's going to be some cuddling afterwards. Oh boy. So he got it right in the co-main event. Let's see if the residential local bar owner here, Eli, is able to get it done with his picks for both the co-main and the main event.
I'm back with Eli Delgado, a.k.a. one of the frontmen of the easternmost bar in the East Village. You already know they're fly like a G6, folks. And we are here to give you his picks, or a.k.a. his pick, for the main event. We got Sugar Sean, just kidding. We got Sean Strickland coming in against DDP. We're not talking about the WWE wrestler. We're talking about Dricus du Plessis, folks, from South Africa. Who you got in this one, folks?
Even though I think he's a complete piece of shit, and I don't agree with anything he says outside of the ring, I think he's a phenomenal fighter, and I'm going to give this to Sean Strickland, for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fight fans of all shapes and sizes, that might be the closest I ever get to my Kanye West moment in saying that George Bush doesn't care about black people. So thank you for that, Eli, and make sure you visit Bottle Rocket.
Totally caught me off guard with the, even though I think he's a complete piece of shit and I don't agree with anything he says.
I think he's a phenomenal fighter.
With that being said, I've got Sean Strickland inside the distance. That piece of shit DDP's got down.
I got him definitely, 100%.
100%. Hate that guy. He's going to win it. That's why he's going to win it. Hate that guy. Back to you, John.
That's how I felt on that Brad Katona pick. I'm like, oh, easy money. Joke's on me. I just
and sorry, who did you pick in that one again?
Oh, you mean Brad Katona?
So good, dude. I said it too. It's so good.
I want to keep an eye on I'm sitting here looking at the odds for that Hanato Drew Dober fight. I don't know who you're leaning on that one, but you might want to watch that Drew Dober money line. I think it's gonna move. He's a plus 120 right now.
Ooh.
I don't know. That doesn't. To me, that's a little crazy.
It's a little bit crazy.
Yeah, a little
I
crazy.
know you're right about it. I know you're right about it.
Yeah, Mary. Check scoping the stacks back there. The addiction's getting for real. For real.
Yes.
He's at the other target. I've not seen those yet. Select, but they were pretty dope.
I just opened these guys literally last night.
Yeah.
The addiction is real. Addiction is real, folks. Oh, you love to see it. And yeah, man, there's a lot of really, really solid odds on this one. Jung Young Lee versus Blake Builder. I'm kind of leaning towards Blake Builder in this one. And he's also sitting at dog odds at plus 110. So I'm not mad about it.
Yeah.
Oh, Miss Mary 616 was actually asking recently, very recently, when is the meatball Molly McCann gonna fight again? Well,
there you go.
In 2 weeks. Yep. She's fighting against Diana Belbita. Oof.
Who's pretty easy on the eyes. Easy on the eyes.
I remember back when her and Ben the Bane Davis used to flirt back and forth on Twitter all the time. Now Ben the Bane Davis is like,
where are you? Oh, dude, I would be too. Yeah. Yeah, no shit.
She was he used to tag her on like everything and try and get her to like respond, and then she started responding regularly to him on Twitter, and then he posted something on like another girl's page, and somebody tagged her in it, and she like responded. She's all, Ben, what is this or something? Dude, I remember it was hilarious, and then like since then I've seen it just kind of fizzle out.
Damn, she got hurt.
Yeah.
gotta-
I mean, the only person I know that's fumbled the bag worse than Francis Ngannou, am I right?
Yeah, man. He soured her on the whole situation. Talk about fumble city. Guy's got butterfingers. What an amateur.
Butterfingers, what an amateur. What an amateur. Oh, so it sounds like the next episode is going to be us playing Matchmaker. We're even going to try and get Mad Max Meridian here back on the hosting desk. Always love having this guy in. Again, thank you to Eli for being on here on the little guest video segments. And anybody else that ever wants to send any videos in, whether it's a question, a topic, whatever, we'd love to put you on the show and go over whatever you send in. We always say the more the merrier, and we love putting you guys on the show too. If you're new here, if you're returning, anywhere in between, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, smash that bell for notifications. And if you're just listening to the audio only version on podcasts, whether it's Spotify, iTunes, whatever the case, make sure you like, rate, and follow, all that good stuff, all the good things you do on podcast sites and podcast networks. And until the next time, guys, we really, really appreciate you. And as we like to say here on this show, keep on going, keep on growing. And thanks again, Mad Max.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you having me.
Oh, and real quick, make sure you give this guy a follow across all platforms at Mad Max Meridian. We fucking love this guy. He's the residential grappler of the MMAnomaly Show, No Filter. And we're definitely glad to have him being one of the new additions.
Appreciate you, brother.
You've been listening to the MMAnomaly Show, No Filter. As you may have been able to tell, we dig the MMA, and our passion is to dive deep into the upcoming fights, give you our expert breakdowns, and help you make sense of all the chaos that is the fight game. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, make sure to find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at MMAnomaly. Be cool, and we'll see you next time.